Thank you for being here. I know you're spoiled for choices. If you've seen the program, we have 4 stages, 400 speakers, 17 tracks. So thank you for choosing us. We do appreciate that. But it's time well invested because we scouted for the best in the hotel technology space. And they all come here today to this stage to share their insights and expertise with us. And yeah, how has the day been so far? It's already almost over the first half of the first day of ITB. Are you all energized and ready for another track? I see open eyes. No one's looking at his phone or her phone. That's great. Yeah, so buckle up. I scouted to get the brains on stage to discuss with me hotel technology trends. But before we do that, I want to give you a brief summary of what you can expect for the rest of the day here, because we're here at this stage until 6 o'clock, and it's packed. It's a packed program. Expect 8 sessions in total. I think that's a lot if you consider the time that we have. A lot of content. We will talk biggest tech trends, obviously, just the next session. We will also discuss direct booking strategies, and we will discuss automation and AI, but not only talk about it, we also invited the ones already implementing, using it, sharing their first learnings with us. So we will have hotel companies here sharing their first person's learnings with adopting AI in their operations. We have Louvre Hotel Groups and Radisson Hotel Groups. We have the Adina hotels here. There's so many to look forward to. We have Citizen M coming, sharing their insights from how they made their tech stack future-proof. And yeah, I think it's an exciting program ahead, so stick with us. If you are into hotel tech, this is the right place for you today. And without any further ado, because I want to maximize the time that we have, please give a warm round of applause to my panelists. We have Champa Magesh from Access Hospitality, Klaus Kohlmeier from Ideas, we have DJ Singh from Canary Technologies, and Sarah Foltz from MGM International. Please, welcome on stage. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Welcome to Berlin.
Thank you very much.
Make yourself just at home. This is your stage now for the next half an hour. Yeah, Klaus, you asked me already, where's the beer? No beer, unfortunately, but the best water that we could find. And as we do this properly here at the ITB Berlin Convention, let me introduce my 4 panelists to you. So Champa Magesh, you are Managing Director at Access Hospitality. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, can you briefly, what is Access Hospitality about?
Sure. So Access Hospitality, we're a B2B software as a service tech company. We're focused on hospitality as an industry vertical. We're very proud of the fact that we serve, obviously, hotels, all accommodation providers, but also provide the tech stack for food and beverage. So any food and beverage operations in hotels we're able to serve. And, we do the entire tech stack. So, think of PMS, CRS, RMS, and then, of course, point of sale systems, payment capabilities, the entire tech stack.
Wonderful. So you see, we chose the right people to be with us here today. Klaus Kohlmeier, you are Chief Evangelist and Development Officer at Ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not a stranger, but still, please, for everyone who doesn't know who you are, can you briefly introduce yourself and Ideas?
Always great to be back on stage. Thank you for keep bringing me back. Yeah, Ideas has been around for 35 years now. We have about 35,000 hotels that we help price their rooms, function space, meeting and event space on a daily basis. We make about 20 billion decisions every day for the hotels that we serve. We've just announced a cruise revenue management system last year, so that's a new industry for us. And we also do parking revenue management solutions around the world.
Very interesting. So very much into pricing, distribution, and retailing, I guess. We're going to go later. And then I'm just checking if we yeah, unfortunately, my apologies again. We had a short-term fallout, but then we have a fantastic replacement. Thank you for coming in. DJ Singh, your Vice President Sales at Canary Technologies. Thank you for being here and representing Harman, or replacing Harman. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, and tell us briefly, Canary Technologies, what do we need to know about?
Yeah, so Canary is a hotel technology company focused on the hotel market. We serve over 20,000 hoteliers in about 90 countries today. We do a range of solutions, a lot focused on guest management. So check-in, check-out, messaging, upsells, compendium, and guest apps. We have a suite of products that focus on payment infrastructure, so payments and digital authorizations and handling offline bookings, and then a new suite of AI applications, so spanning omni-channel, whether through text, through phone, through the web, to streamline guest inquiries and help save staff some time.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. And then Sarah Foltz from MGM Resorts. Your title gives it away. Vice President Distribution. So you're all about getting these rooms sold, plenty of them.
That's right. I manage all the technology behind the distribution strategy, and that includes the central reservation system.
Right, and also the reason that I'm very thrilled that Sarah is here with me, I personally had the pleasure to work with her in the past because she's very engaged in all the industry associations and working groups. So what I always appreciate is that she has a bird eye on what's happening in the market. And basically, I take your voice today as the voice for many hoteliers and not only one brand, right? So thank you so much for coming in and joining us here. And right, I'd say let's get to it. And let's start with a lightning round. In one sentence, what excites you the most about hotel tech in 2025? Champa.
I think we're on the cusp of, dare I say it, an experience revolution. Guest experience, of course, right? It's what hospitality is about. But also, I think it's about employee experience. How do you attract, retain talent in the hospitality space and deliver a superior employee experience? For me, that is what is most exciting about what tech can deliver.
Wonderful. Klaus, what's your take?
The technology is becoming so ubiquitous that it's available and affordable for every hotel anywhere, or any accommodation provider anywhere. So if you're a campground or if you're a small one-unit short-term rental, or if you're a large hotel, you can leverage the same technology and the same capabilities across the board.
Right, so we're leveling the playing field here. Right, that's exciting. DJ, what's your take on that?
Sure, yeah, so I think Champa said it right. There's a revolution that's happening. I'm very excited about the leverage that hoteliers can experience from successful AI applications to help save them time, but still while upholding the high bar for guest experience, which is very important.
Right, wonderful. And Sarah, maybe if you can hand over one of the mics. Maybe we also get a fourth one soon. I hope so. Sarah, from your perspective as a hotelier, give us a reality check. What are you excited about?
Check. I think everybody's going to expect me to say AI, personalization, but I'm excited just to see that hoteliers are finally upgrading their tech stacks. They're moving into the cloud. They're getting better PMSs and CRSs out there, and we're still working on the fundamentals in many ways. But it's important. In moving to the cloud, everybody's not there yet.
Right. I mean, I love that. That's a very honest statement, right? If you look at the headlines in our media or what we discuss in panels, it's always very future-faced. But then, we don't have Wi-Fi in the hotel room, or we don't have a system to connect to, right? So that's, very fundamental. Thank you for that. And what would you, now we talked about the trends that excite you, but if you would have to name one tech innovation that you know of in hospitality that will have the biggest impact in the next years, maybe even in particular for your sector, like the part you were active in, Champa, what would you say is the one that you...
Yeah, I think obviously, how can you not mention AI if you're in the tech space, right? But I want to pick up on the point that Sarah makes. I think what I'm particularly excited about is, we know that our customers, and you see this in all industries, hospitality is just one of them, where you have customers who perhaps haven't moved to the cloud yet. There's a lot of legacy technology out there, right? So how do you get excited about the opportunities of AI? I think what's particularly exciting that AI brings to the table now is the ability that actually you can do both in parallel. You don't have to upgrade. You can leverage your legacy tech, but you can start to build a pathway while leveraging AI in parallel. So I think with that, the hyper-personalization that you can bring to guest experiences or the employee experience, you don't have to wait. It's not a sequential thing, because the ability to be able to integrate fragmented tech that you might have, different point systems, and the ability to be able to bring all that together into an AI capability, regardless of whether that is cloud or hybrid or legacy tech. I think those possibilities are what is super exciting.
So do I understand correctly, you're saying we're looking at the the point where we get rid of the fragmentation in our tech stacks that hold us back for some of the innovation?
Well, certainly start to build a bridge to smoothing out the fragmentation.
Okay.
Right? Where before you would have to go, well, I have to upgrade first, I have to bring everything together. Now you can start to smooth that out, because what AI is about is harmonizing your data model rather than the code base in itself. So therefore, you could still operate with disparate code bases, but as long as you can work on harmonizing the data model, you can start to leverage the benefits of AI. You can start to hyper-personalize your guest experience, which is, ultimately what we're all in the hospitality industry to do. And you can continue to create a better employee experience. Your employees can be more productive, can engage in delivering that superior guest experience. So I think that's what's really exciting, that unlock that this creates, rather than yet another piece of shiny tech that requires everybody to upgrade before you're going to see the benefits.
Right. Would you recognize that, Sarah? Is that something you hear also from your peers? Or?
Yeah, I would agree with that, absolutely agree with that. I think that as hoteliers, we've got to spend the time focusing on AI. A lot of people are still not educated on what we need to do. And a lot of the vendors and third-party partners are way ahead of us in this game. So there's a lot of opportunity, but it's going to be, how do you get the hoteliers there? How do you get them focused on that when we're still doing a lot of the fundamentals? Yeah. So it's a challenge for us, but we need to get there.
Right. Anything you would like to add to that point? Or if not, I move on. But
no, I agree.
To add.
There's a lot of conferences I go to, and people all talk about AI and AI and AI, but then people sit in the room and say, well, how's this going to help me make my budget in 25? And it really doesn't. So what's really going to help make your budget in 2025 is having the right technology to help you connect all the different data points and turn the data into decisions, and do that in a way that's automated, and it helps you get the right guest and convert the guest through your direct channels the quickest way possible. I just saw a statistic on the weekend that the OTA spent over $17 billion in marketing last year, and that's just the top 6 OTAs. So think about how you're going to compete with that, and how you do that by connecting your tech stack and having the right pieces in one place.
Right, I see. Yeah, please, DJ.
Yeah, I'll agree and I'll disagree. So I think on the agreement front, I think I'm on this. Everyone needs to do the fundamentals to make sure that data is accessible, and that's happening, luckily, very quickly across all the brands that we see are kind of moving in the same direction. Where I'll disagree is some of these applications are here and providing real ROI today. And so I think one element I think is super interesting is conversational AI. Mm-hmm. It's remarkable how good it already is today, where you can have super engaging guest experiences through text or through voice, through phone. And now the staff can focus on in-person interactions. There's a stat, I think 40% of hotel calls go unanswered today. It just speaks to how busy front desk staff are. And so there are solutions today. There's still ways to go, but they're here and they work and they can bridge that gap more and more every day.
Right. Yeah, please, Sarah.
I'm going to balance it out. I agree with Klaus, because you're right. Getting it approved in the boardroom is incredibly difficult. But I also agree that there's easy entry points that we can start at, and conversational AI is one of them. That's a great example.
Wonderful. So you can already take down one note for today, conversational AI. That's something to watch, right? That's always good to have like takeaways. Yeah, let's stick a bit with the AI, right? We hear it everywhere, obviously. Everyone talks about it. But what are the real practical ways we can actually leverage AI? And is this really AI we're talking about, or is it maybe just machine learning or data management? Champa, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as DJ mentioned there, definitely the conversational AI, communication.
Right.
It's a very obvious, small use case, but a very powerful one. And it's not just communicating with your guests, right? Obviously, if you bring that together with connecting up with mobile apps, right, and you have mobile in the hands of your employees, then the whole concept of AI being a co-pilot for your employees is, again, a very simple use case, right? Think about the number of times your employees have to look stuff up, you know, the number of times that they'd have to go and look in a system to really understand a guest. You can make that available through a very simple conversational interface on their mobile, just imagine how much more effective your frontline, your front of house employees are going to be, how much of time you save, right? So in terms of that productivity and the ability to be able to take away some of the admin and boring tasks that your employees are having to do to deliver that guest experience, I think that is a super obvious one. And then you can start to look at where already today you're deploying machine learning in the tech that you have. You know, if you take payment systems, for example, fraud, chargeback capabilities, that's again a very simple use case for AI deployment. If you already have machine learning in there, it's not a massive step up to be able to roll out an AI capability onto it. So again, I think there are loads of entry points in terms of how AI can be deployed, and it's not a 10-year project where, you know, and you can deliver immediate ROI in terms of meeting your quarterly budgets, in terms of delivering that superior guest experience, and the ability to be able to retain staff.
Right, understood. Anything to add from you? Or yes, DJ,
Sure.
please.
I mean, I think the way that I think some folks think about it are what are the applications based on where guests are in their journey. And so if we break it down that way, even for this event, pre-stay, pre-arrival, when you're in the discovery phase and you want to make a booking, it's nice you can text a hotel brand and say, hey, I'm looking for a hotel with room service because it gets late at ITB Berlin and I need free weights because I want to pretend I'm going to go to the gym in the morning before I come to the conference. And that helps me immediately locate a hotel and no one is involved. And then in stay, you might have your hot water not working and you can send a text to the hotel. And that's simple enough, right? They get the message. But if the artificial intelligence is automatically creating that service ticket and sending it to the service optimization layer, that flags the right department, then you've also saved a bunch of staff time. And then post-stay, this is where it gets incredibly interesting. Post-stay surveys they serve a great function for hoteliers, but they are surveys, right? And survey technology hasn't changed in a long time. Imagine having an engaging conversation to talk about your experience at a hotel, right? Where the question that they ask is actually pertaining to the answers that you're giving. That can get so much more insight than a set of 5 or 10 questions, right? And so there's all these applications that exist today. I think these are some examples that give you an idea where the guest is in their journey and how it can work.
Right, so we might see some changes in the review management as well then later on, right? Well, let's shift gears a bit because I'm just so, I could take a whole day for you guys, but unfortunately we don't have a whole day. We only have these 25 minutes. Just a quick question for you, Sarah, you maybe and Klaus, where do you see AI is being overhyped for sure? What's your red flag? Where do you say, guys, this is a hype? Can you point a direction and say this is what you would say, please don't?
I don't think it's overhyped, but it'll take longer to make an impact at scale than we all think. Good. I always think about the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, which was launched in 1968. And the whole movie was us talking about it with a computer, right? It was us having a conversation with HAL. So here we are 50 years, 60 years later. We're just starting to talk to computers. So things always take longer. We've been using AI since our founding in 1989. It's a core component of what we do. And you have to do that when people have to make 5 million pricing decisions every year. You have to have automation, and you have to have the data, and you have to have AI to do that. But it's just core of our DNA. But I think what's going to happen is the way we interact with technology is going to fundamentally change in the next few years. And that's the exciting part. So I wouldn't call it hype. I would just say, you know, there's a curve, right? And we're at the curve of excitement, but then the curve of realization is going to come, you know, in a couple of years.
So we need some patience.
Yeah, it's...
Yes, okay.
Yes.
I see Sarah nodding, okay.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. I remember getting super excited when blockchain came out.
Right.
And I was super excited about attribute-based selling, which I know Klaus is going to talk about. And this one, I think, is something that we should be excited about. Everybody needs to be understanding it, learning it, preparing for it, seeing what everybody else is out there doing. Like as a hotelier, in distribution, I'm reading nonstop about what all the OTAs are doing,
right,
so that I'm prepared. I would love for AI to be the reason that hoteliers could cut out intermediaries, but I don't think that's going to happen. We just don't have the pocketbooks that all the third parties have, but it is really exciting to see where we can go with this.
Right.
I mean, I do want to
please.
just come in on that, though. I think there is a difference. And therefore, I disagree in terms of, I think it's going to take a shorter time than we imagine. The difference is, AI is already a B2C capability. I don't know, show of hands, how many people have an AI app on your phone, right? I have 4.
Hands up.
And it's already, I mean,
should have
look
reversed
at
the
that,
question.
right? So we have no choice. If you're running a hotel, your guests are using an AI tool already. You're the only one who isn't, right? Like, do we have that choice? We don't. I mean, as an employer who runs a tech company, we have a debate about, oh, is it really what it's meant to be? Is it going to, give us the productivity for our software developers? Guess what? Our employees are already using it in their personal lives. It's a bit like the Netflix effect or the Amazon effect. And what that did to apps all over the world, B2B apps, right? It sets a standard. So I actually think the standard's been set. We saw the show of hands. People are already using AI. Our employees are using AI in their personal lives. It'll be impossible to employ someone who comes in and says, what, you don't have AI? How am I meant to be writing emails, right? So I think this is going to accelerate. And it's that consumer effect that's going to accelerate the adoption of AI in B2B. That's my, it's not just my personal view, it's the basis on which we're making some bets in terms of technology investments.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Let's move back to distribution and revenue management for a moment. And it's evolving fast. For many years, we discussed all the strategies. You said it yourself. You're watching closely what all the OTAs and distribution partners are doing, obviously. So how are you seeing technology changing the ways that hotels are selling their inventory? Klaus, maybe you start, and then we have Sarah's opinion on that too.
Sure, yeah, as I mentioned, people have to make 5 million pricing decisions every year. In a medium-sized hotel, and that increases when you're in a very large property like MGM. And there's no other way to do that than through technology. What's changing is the amount of data that's available and the scalability of that, of the integrations that we have, and the fluidity of the data that transfers back and forth. It's staggering the amount of data that's being added to our database every day, and how that data can now interact with all the different 250 integrations that we have around the tech ecosystem. So what's exciting is the amount of data and the quality of the data and the exchange of the data is increasing, which produces better outcome and better decisions.
Right. Would you agree, Sarah? Or what are you seeing? What has changed or what will change?
I am going to say I'm used to being, as a hotelier, the only hotelier on stage, and I know your passion in all of this topic, but I'm used to being roasted on LinkedIn by all the vendors that are saying, hoteliers don't adopt fast enough, they're not moving, they're not looking, they're not doing anything fast enough, right? But I'm bringing us back down into reality. This is my 30th year. I started in hotels 30 years ago. 20 years ago, I started really focusing on distribution and connectivity. The mapping to a partner is still the same. 20 years later, that has not changed one bit. It's the exact same. So we have a long ways that we need to go. We can get there, but I do want to say for distribution, one of my favorite AI tools that we use at MGM, we do it in-house. I know Leah's talking about it on a panel later, which is RPA, or Robotic Process Automation.
Right.
That's a game changer. To be able to put in the bots, to be able to run these processes that require, in the world of distribution, we have a ton of manual processes, and to be able to put that in and really use RPA to help with the manpower and automate processes has been a game changer.
How was the adoption from your teams? How did they respond to it? Did they like it, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to implement, and it's so affordable. That's the other thing. We do it in-house because we're big enough to do it in-house, but there's companies out there that are really affordable. That you can adopt that fairly quickly.
So another note for your list, robotic process automation, RPA, write it down, yes?
Just one example to what you said 30 years ago. My son just started working at a hotel at the front desk, and he's doing exactly the same tasks than I did when I was working at the front desk in a hotel.
Oh, that's crazy.
In the same manual manner, and I worked maybe 30 years ago. So here we are 30 years later. He's doing exactly the same things manually at exactly the same order.
Yeah, I mean, you see it yourselves, right? We have officially 2 minutes left. Unofficially, it's 3. But It's just a pain. It's way too many topics for too little time, two smart brains on my stage here. So, well, let's make this the best we can do it for all of you here coming in to listen to these guys. If you had one advice to hoteliers out there to future-proof their strategy in terms of technology for the next years, what would be your advice? What should they start with today? Maybe we take Sarah last when we heard all the points from the supplier side.
Sure.
Spicy.
We released a report recently. It was 325 hoteliers, hotel leaders, and we interviewed them on how they view the impact of AI today, how they're budgeting for it. So it hopefully brings it more to reality on how are these leaders what are they getting budget for? What are the applications that they can justify in 2025? So we have it hosted on our website, or you can find me and I can get it to you, but it's helpful. I think one of the messages that's probably clear is that applications are here, they're coming very quickly. It's good to, at the very least, feel confident and educated. And so this report is helpful. I found it helpful personally, and so it's available.
Right, thank you. Klaus, what's your advice?
I would say embrace AI fully, because eventually it's going to be like using an email. But go into it with a clear head. Right. And go into it with a vision, objectives, and a strategy, and set the right path. It's going to change every 6 months anyway. So go in with a clear head, but go in with a real strategy.
Right, good advice. Champa, what would you say?
Yeah, well, I think it's about data. So I think, look, AI has, there's applications out there, there's tech companies out there, right? But ultimately, it's hoteliers starting to think about their data, right? And even if it sits in multiple systems at the moment, how do you ensure that you can work with a partner to be able to harmonize the data? And most importantly, as you're rolling out AI, obviously as a business, you have an obligation to protect the data of your guests, to protect the data of your employees. That's what's different from the B2C world. That's where some of the caution and the deliberation needs to be employed, because you can't just release out your data into the wild. So being able to make sure that you're working with a tech partner where the AI capabilities are ring-fenced and are still meeting the obligations of data privacy regulations, for example.
Right, very good advice. Thank you. And Sarah, give us a reality check. What's the...
I'm just going to say, I think the most important advice I can give hoteliers is start educating yourself.
Right.
Our industry does a great job. There's a lot of resources out there where you can start learning about AI, but it's your job as a hotelier to learn as much as you can from it. I read like Booking.com's earnings report, because all these companies are always talking about it. Just absorb and learn as much as you can, and then you can take it to the boardroom and you can have those conversations internally, but you have to educate yourself first.
Right. And can you actually give a recommendation? Do you have like top 3 favorite places where you go to for information, or is that really like individual?
I mean, I like to read earnings reports of a lot of companies because they're talking about that subject. Of course, Skift is a big one. Focusrite, but there's so much, if you just Google it, there's so much information out there. And all of these vendors would love to talk to everybody about it and educate them as well.
Right, and I mean, that's the opportunity you have right now for the next 3 days, right? You can connect in person with them and then follow up after ITB. So please make sure to do that. And I'd say make sure you visit Access Group as guest line on the booth, right? In hall
and SHR.
SHR, okay, in Hall 8-1. So this direction, and the trip is worth it, because in Hall 8-1 we also have ideas at booth 110. Fabulous team there, probably happy to talk to all of you. And Canary Technologies also in 8-1, so that's, it's an easy trip for you guys. Booth 131, right? So I'd say that's a wrap. We're out of time. I enjoyed this a lot. Thank you so much for being here with me. Champa Margesh, Klaus Kohlmeier, DJ Singh, and Sarah Folks.